Okay, linear 4 test. Number 1, we're solving inequalities. Okay, so we need to remember our steps: distribute, combine, move, divide. So I'm going to start with distribute. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times negative 6n is negative 18n. Remember, I told y'all this should be an n. That was my fault. 4 times n, bring down my symbol, is 4n. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So there's my first step. Second step is to combine. Well, I don't have anything to combine on this side or this side, so I need to move. I need to move my variables to the left and my numbers without variables to the right. So I'm going to move this 4n minus 4n. And I have 18 minus 22n. Bring down my symbol is negative 4. So now that I moved the n's to the left, I'm going to move the numbers without n to the right. So minus 18, minus 18. And I'm going to bring this over here. I get negative 22n is greater than or equal to negative 4 minus 18 is negative 22. Well, last step is to divide. I need to get n by itself, so I'm dividing by what's in front of n, which is negative 22. And remember, when we divide by negative, we have to flip our symbol. So knowing that, I have n left, and anything divided by itself is 1, which you can check in your calculator. So I know I need to put a point at 1, and it's going to be a closed dot because it's equal to. And n is less than or equal to 1, so less is to the left. Now, a couple things to remember. Less than or greater than, get an open dot or a dashed line, depending on the type of problem. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, get a closed dot and a solid line, depending on the problem. Okay, so knowing that, let's look at the second part of this problem. Same concept, we're still solving an inequality. So again, we have to follow our same steps, which start with distribute. So we're going to distribute. I'm going to bring down this negative 4 so I don't forget it. 2 times p is positive 2p. 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Bring down my symbol, bring down my 36. My second step is to combine like terms. Well, I have these two that are like already on the same side. So I have negative 4 minus 16, which is negative 20. Bring down my plus 2p. And again, I have to get my variables on one side and my numbers without variables on the other side. Well, p is already by itself. There is no p over here. So I need to move my numbers without a variable to the other side. So plus 20, plus 20. I'm going to bring this over here, and I have 2p is less. Well, the negative 36 plus 20 is negative 16. And my final step is to divide both sides by 2. So I have p is less than negative 8. Now I do not flip my symbol on this side because I divided by positive 2. So I have negative 8 and p is less, so I'm going to do an open dot because it's not equal to, and less is to the left. Okay, so look at number 2. Okay, on number 2, we are going to do the same thing, except this time with an equation. So I don't have to worry about number lines, and I don't have to worry about flipping my symbol. So I'm going to distribute, still the same steps. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8x equals, on this side, still distributing, 3 times negative x is negative 3x. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. So just like we said before, I can't combine these and I can't combine these. They're not like terms. So I need to move my variables to one side and my numbers without variables to the other. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. That gives me 2. Bring down that. Negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. Don't forget your x. So I'm going to subtract 2, my numbers without variables, to go onto the right. And that leaves me with negative 5x equals negative 18 minus 2 is negative 20. Now I divide both sides by negative 5, and I get x equals 4. Okay, so look at the second part of number 2. Same exact steps. Okay, same exact type of problem. Okay, so negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 6, well, 2 negatives makes a positive. 4 times 6 is 24. And again, if you need to use your calculator to help you, use your calculator. So again, I can't combine these two, can't combine these two, so we skip combining like terms, and we go down to move. Move our x's to the left and our numbers without x to the right. So plus 4x plus 4x. That gives me negative 3x minus 21 equals 24. Now I need to move my numbers without x, so this negative 21 to the right. Opposite of negative 21 is positive 21. So I have negative 3x equals 45. Divide both sides by 3 because that's my last step. And I get x equals negative 15. Okay, let's look at number 3. Okay, this one's just like number 1. It says solve the following inequality and graph it on the number line. So I have to solve first. Okay, so I don't have anything to distribute. So next we combine. Remember, don't cry, my dear. So I don't have to distribute. I do need to combine. I have a 3x and a 2x on the same side. So when they're on the same side, I don't change their sign. So 3x plus 2x is 5x. Bring down my plus 5 is greater than 35. So all my x's are already on the left. So now I need to move the 5 to the other side. So minus 5 minus 5. And I get 5x is greater than 30. Final step, divide both sides by 5. So I already combined, I already moved, so now I divide. And I get x is greater than 6, which is A. And we can put it on our number line. Here's my 6. Greater than is an open dot. And x is greater goes to the right. Okay, look at number 4. Which graph matches the inequality? Well, first things first, I have to solve. I know there's a lot of solving really fast, but it's because we have a couple problems like this on our test. Okay, not this many, but there are some. So we just want to kind of get you used to it. So we have 9x, I'm going to come over here, is greater than or equal to, and I'm going to distribute. So 6 times x is 6x. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. And then don't forget to bring over my plus 3. Okay, so knowing that, my next step is to combine like terms. Well, nothing on this side combines. However, on this side, negative 18 plus 3 are like terms. So I'm going to bring this down. Bring down my 6x. And negative 18 plus 3 would be negative 15. And y'all, if you're not confident, check it. Negative 18 plus 3 is negative 15. So knowing that, I need to move my x's to the left and my numbers without x to the right. So minus 6x. And that gives me 3x plus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 15. So now move my numbers without x, so minus 3, minus 3. Last step is to divide. Divide by 3, divide by 3. And I get x is greater than or equal to negative 6. Now I don't have to flip my symbol. I did not divide by a negative. So x is greater than or equal to negative 6. This is at 4. This is at negative 6. So I can cross off C. This is at 4, so that's wrong. So I have negative 6, open dot, close dot. Well, x is greater than or equal to is going to be a closed dot, so A is not right. So D is my answer. Okay, number 5 is a little weird, and it's a lot of words. So find out what's important. I always like to read the last sentence first. It says the area in square inches of rectangle 1. So the area of rectangle 1 is equal to the area of rectangle 2. Well, we know area equals length times width. Okay, so I know I have to find the area of rectangle 1 and set it equal to the area of rectangle 2. So knowing that, I want you to realize rectangle 1's length is 3 times the width is 8 minus 3x. So there's how I find the area of rectangle 1 equals, and then it says the length of 6 times the width of x plus 2. So there's my rectangle 2. So there's my problem. That's what represents this. So knowing that, now I need to solve to find what the value of x is. So we have to distribute. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times negative 3x is negative 9x. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 2 is 12. And just like all the other problems, nothing here combines, nothing here combines. Move my x's to the left, my numbers without x to the right. So minus 6x, minus 6x. 6 minus 6 is 0, so that's gone. That gives me negative 15x equals 12. So now I need to move my numbers without x, so my 24 to the other side. And I have negative 15x equals negative 12. Last step, divide both sides by negative 15. And I get x equals, and if I type it on my calculator, because if you're like me, that does not come at the top of your head. So negative 12 divided by negative 15, I get 0.8. However, if my answer choices are a fraction, we can hit the fraction symbol, and it's 4 over 5. So either of those are good. Okay, let's look at number 6. Okay, number 6 says, solve for y, 4x plus 3y equals 9. So remember, when we're solving for y and it's in standard form, x and y are on the same side, we move our x, divide by y. So minus 4x, and I divide not by y, but what's in front of y. And I have a positive 3, so we're going to divide everything by positive 3, and I get y equals 9 divided by 3 is 3. This does not simplify, so minus 4 over 3x. Now, everything else is in a different order. I want you to realize my slope is negative 4 over 3. This is negative 3/4. This is negative 4. This is negative 4 over 3. That's negative 4. So I know C is my answer with a positive 3. It's just in a different order. Okay, look at number 7. Number 7 says, what is the rate of change for the graph to the right? So I can look at the graph. I can find 2 pretty points. I have a point here, and I have a point here. And I can do 2 things. So I'm going to build a table. This is the point 0, 3. And this is the point negative 1, negative 1. Okay, well, one thing I could do is rise over run. I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Right 1. So positive 4 over 1, which is just 4. So I know my answer is A. But I could also do y1 squiggle. If you're not good at that, you can come here and do plus sign table, put your points in, 0, 3, negative 1, negative 1. And I can do my y1 squiggle, mx1 plus b. And my slope, my m is 4. So the biggest thing to remember here is that rate of change just means slope, and that's the m of your equation. Next page. Okay, so we're here at number 8. So number 8 says, what is the solution to the equation that is already solved for you? So it's already solved. So you'll notice they had this. They did minus 2x to move the x's to the left, and they both canceled. So I'm left with 5 is negative 3, which is false. 5 does not equal negative 3. Well, I know there's not a solution, so one solution doesn't work. None of these is not usually my answer. So I have no solution or infinitely many solutions, or also real numbers, however you want to say it. And when it's false, I want you to realize it is no solution. Okay. look at number 9. It says, what is the error on the already solved problem below? I know it's hard to tell when it's not your work, but I want you to realize the first thing they did was add 2x to both of these x's. Well, I want you to realize you don't do opposite unless you move it to the opposite side. Did they move it to the opposite side? No. So they should have done 3x minus 2x, but instead they added. So adding 2x to 3x is where their mistake is. Okay, number 10. It says Miss Zippy is ordering pizza and breadsticks for a school party and can spend no more than $81. If I cannot spend more, that means I have to spend less, or I can spend exactly $81. An order of breadsticks Y costs $7, so I know 7Y. And an order of pizza costs $13, so I'm going to put it in order, so 13x. Write the inequality for this situation. Well, there's my inequality. So I know 13x. This has 7x. This has 7x. Plus 7y is less than or equal to. So B is my answer. Okay, looking at number 11. This was our literal equations. These are not our favorite, but they're not that bad. We're just rearranging. So I want you to realize on this one, I'm solving for W. So I need to get the W term by itself, meaning on this right side, I have to get rid of what's not part of the W term, which is my 2L. So I'm going to do minus 2L, and I have P minus 2L equals 2W. Well, last thing I need to do to get W by itself, they're touching, and that means multiply. So the opposite of multiply is to divide both sides by 2, which is just A. Now, technically, you could have separated and simplified, but they did not, so it doesn't matter. Okay, last one on this page. It says Mark needs to buy pizza and soda for a party, and he has a budget of $80. So if I have a budget of 80, I cannot spend more than 80. However, I can spend less than 80 or exactly 80. So I know it's less than or equal to. Because it's equal to, I know it's going to be a solid line. So I can cross off B and D. However, I don't know the rest. So it says pizza costs $12. So I have $12 per pizza, plus bottles of soda cost $2 each. So 2 soda is less than or equal to 80. Now, what I want you to realize is it doesn't tell me what to solve for. I don't know what's X, I don't know what's Y. So it doesn't matter, but I want you to realize if I were to solve for Y, would I flip my symbol? Well, nothing over here is negative, so I would not flip my symbol. So less than or equal to is going to stay my symbol. If something's less, that's below. So C is my answer. Now I'm going to prove that to you just in case that doesn't make sense. If I do minus 12p, and I have 2s is less than or equal to 80 minus 12p, divide by a positive 2, I still have s is less than or equal to what all that equals. Less than is below, so it didn't change, so C is my answer. Okay, so knowing that, let's look at the next page. Okay, so we're looking at number 13. So this one says, which of the following inequalities matches the graph? Well, I want you to realize it's a dashed line. None of them have an equal to, so I can't cross anything out yet. And I also want you to realize they're backwards, so I'm going to rewrite them. This is 3x plus 4y is less than 20. 3x plus 4y is greater than 20. Negative 3x plus 4y is less than 20. Negative 3x plus 4y is greater than 20. And just what I just talked to you about. If I don't have a negative y, I'm not going to flip my symbol. Well, this is above, so it's got to be greater and not equal to. Well, this is less, so I know it's not A. So it could be B. Here, again, I'm going to move the 3x, and I'm going to divide by positive 4. So again, not going to flip my symbol, so it's got to be greater. So I am looking at B and D. So let's solve it. So I'm going to do minus 3x, divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. I get y is greater than 20 divided by 4 is 5, minus 3 over 4x. Well, is this a negative slope? No, it's a positive slope, so that's not my answer. Just to double check, let's do plus 3x plus 3x. Divide by 4. And I get y is greater than 5 plus 3 over 4x. Well, it touches at 5, and I'm sure that's the right slope, so D is my answer. 14 is a calculator problem, so we're going to look at the calculator. I have mine kind of small. I'm going to split screen it. Okay, so knowing this, I'm going to erase my, sorry. That didn't work out. Just trying to get it here. Okay, so knowing this, what does that mean? Here we go. I'm going to type that in, but I'm going to type it in as an equation. So remember, how do I get this to go away? There we go. I'm typing this equation in, but not as an inequality. Remember, it's not going to let me do an inequality. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4. And now I have to ask myself two things. Solid line or dashed line, above or below. So y is less than, it's not equal to, so it's going to be a dashed line. And if something's less than me, that's below me. So I know it's a dashed line and it's shaded below. So I'm going to change this by hitting the, so remember, hit the settings, hit the dot, change it to a dashed line so we don't forget. And remember, our solutions are below, not on the line, because solid dashed lines do not hold solutions. So I'm going to test my point, negative 3, 5. Ooh, what did I do? And that is on my line. Well, dashed lines do not hold solutions, so A is not a solution. Okay, so I'm not even going to retype it. I'm just going to come here. I'm going to delete the negative. So my B is 3, 5. Well, that's above, and we said answers are below. So B is not an answer. My next one is 3, negative 5, which is below. So C is an answer. And let's double check D. So 5, 3, that is also above, so that is not an answer. So D is my answer. C is my answer. Goodness gracious. Okay, here it says which of the following equations matches the given graph. Well, I want you to realize this is a solid line and it's shaded above because if I put a point, it's go up. So knowing that solid means it has to be equal to, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. So I know C and D are not my answer. Above, if something's above me, that's greater than me. So it's going to be the greater than or equal to symbol, which is B. Okay, look at number 16. 16 says, what is the zero of the following graph? Zeros, I want you to remember that is our x-intercepts. Okay, so knowing that zeros are my x-intercepts, this is my x-axis, I want to see where it touches this line. Well, I see it's going to happen over here somewhere where I don't see it. And that's okay. So negative 6 is a possibility. If I look at x is 0, that didn't touch. If I look at negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it did not touch right there. 1, 2, 3, did not touch right there. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that does seem about right. Now I want you to realize the one on your test is, you can see it, so don't have to stress about that one. Okay, look at number 17. Now, the big thing to remember here is that f of x equals y. So if I give you a number inside your parentheses, that's my x. So this is telling me x equals 1. If I give you x, we're looking for y. So x is 1. I'm going to draw up till it touches my line, and that's at a height of 5. So here's telling me x equals 2, so just over 1. That goes up to a height of 8. Now when it's outside, y equals negative 4. It's on the outside. I'm looking for x. So y is a height, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes over negative 2. And all of those were here, 8, 5, negative 2. Okay, look at the last page, number 18. True or false, f of negative 2 equals 8. Remember, inside is x, outside is y, so I can write this as a point, negative 2, 8. And I can plot that point, negative 2 up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And is that point on my line? No, it is not. So this is false. Here is more like the one on your test. What is the 0? 0 is your x-intercept. So the one on the test you'll be able to see. So we know it's 4. So I can cross off the 20s. However, is it 0, 4 or 4, 0? Well, I want you to remember x-intercepts are where y equals 0. So we know it's D. However, if you're not sure, go to your calculator. Type 4, comma 0. And is that on my y-axis? No, that's on my x-axis. Oh, that's what I'm looking for, x-intercept. Goodness gracious. So I did it right. Sorry, my phone was going off. So that is correct. Now, if I would have typed it 0, 4, because remember, we're looking for the x-intercept, that's on my y-axis, so that's obviously the wrong answer. Use your calculator to check it if you need to. Number 20. Almost done. Which equation can best represent the graph to the right? So one thing I want you to realize is I need to find my slope. If I go up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4, I know my slope is 1/4. Or remember, we can do y1 squiggle on a table. So I know that B and D are not my answer. Now, looking at A and C, I know, remember, our formula is y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. So remember, it was opposite. So this is your y, this is your x, and it's opposite. So opposite of positive 4 is negative 4. Opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. X is after x, y is after y. Opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. Opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. And we can see which one has that point. So negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1, 2, 3. That is not on my line. However, the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 is on my line. So C is my answer. Another thing you can do, or to just check your work, is to solve for y. If I have y minus 3 equals 1/4 x minus 4, I can just get y by itself by doing plus 3, and I can type that in my calculator. My calculator doesn't care if I simplify. Y equals 1/4 x minus 4 plus 3. And let's see, this has a y-intercept of 2, this has a y-intercept of 2, and it's going up 1/4, so it looks right, therefore C is my answer. Okay, look at number 21. Which points are solutions to the inequality? This is just like number 14, where we do it in the calculator. So we're going to come here. We're going to type in my equation. Remember, we have to type it as an equal sign. So y equals negative 2x minus 2. And I need to ask myself, solid line or dashed line? Well, it's not equal to, it's less. So no equal to is a dashed line. And y is less is below. So again, it's going to be below the line and a dashed line. So we're going to check our points. My first point is negative 2, 4, and we're going to label it. My next point is negative 4, 0, label. Negative 1, 0. And last point is 0, negative 2. So I'm looking for the point below because the dashed line does not hold solution. So these two on the dashed line are not a solution. Above is not a solution, so the only one is green, which is negative 4, 0. Almost done. 22. Which graph represents the following inequality? Well, I know it's going to be a solid line, but that does not simplify this for me. So I'm going to have to solve this one for y because they all have a solid line and 2 of them are below, 2 of them are above. So even if I ask myself what's above, what's below, it doesn't help. So we have 3x plus 2y is less than or equal to negative 12. Remember, we move our x, so minus 3x, and divide by what's in front of y. Divide by 2. So I have y is less than or equal to, that gives me negative 6 minus 3 over 2x. So we can use our calculator to help us here. We've already solved for y. Whoop. And so I can type it in as an equal sign. So y equals negative 6 minus 3 over 2x. And check my intercepts. I have an intercept at negative 4 This one has an intercept at -4. This one does not. This one has an intercept at -4. This one does not. And my x-intercept is at -6. I mean, sorry. My x-intercept was -4. My y-intercept is -6. This has -6. This also has -6. So now I need to ask myself above or below. Well, y is less than or equal to, less is below, and this one is below, so A is my answer. Okay, last but not least, solving for y again. It's nothing we can get too much practice for, so I'm going to, remember, move my x, divide by what's in front of y. So minus 8x minus 8x, and I divide everything by 4. So I get y is less than 4 minus 8 divided by 4 is 2x. Okay, good luck on your test tomorrow. Have a great night.